Thanks, Mark. Now, as people in the public eye, including Elliot Page and Sam Smith, challenge stereotypes and shine light on gender identity, our use and understanding of pronouns has become more important. Pronouns are an expressive part of identity, and there is, of course, he and she, but also a growing number of people who best identify as they.
Well, to help us navigate gender pronouns, we're joined by Teddy Cook, who is the Manager of Trans and Gender Diverse Health Equity at ACON, as well as the Vice President of the Australian Professional Association for Trans Health. Good morning, Teddy. Thanks for joining us today.
Good morning. It's so lovely to be here.
So let's talk about this. Just how important are pronouns, is pronoun etiquette? And can you explain to those people out there who have relatively little understanding about them why they're important?
Look, pronouns are the kinds of words that we use when we're describing people, when we're talking about people, when we're introducing people. They're the terms that we use in place of people's names. So, for instance, it would feel probably pretty awkward if we had to say things like, I met Teddy today and Teddy and I did this, and then Teddy and I made pasta, Teddy brought me the pasta, Teddy ate the pasta, instead of, he and I made this and he and I did that. And so it is a strongly kind of English term of gendered expression, really, where we use pronouns to that describe and link people in some ways to their identity.
And this isn't about political correctness, is it? Because as you just mentioned, it goes back to the heart of identity. So therefore, if you make errors, deliberately or not, it can have really big ramifications for that person.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, using somebody's correct pronoun isn't about snowflakes or political correctness. It's about kindness and respect and honouring someone's lived experience and identity. And the reality is that certainly trans people have been around since humans have been around. We're not new. We're not a new phenomenon. We've always existed. Many of us, most of us will use he, him and she, her pronouns. And then others who are non-binary or who experience their gender in a different way may use gender-neutral pronouns like they, them, or they, their. And but they, them, for instance, as pronouns have been around since Shakespeare's time. It's not a new thing, and we're very allowed to use pronouns that are gender neutral for people, for individuals.
So what are some of the rules? You just mentioned, he, him, she, her, they, them. What are some of the rules? What are some of the techniques? I mean, is it rude to ask someone their pronoun? Should we now introduce ourselves as who you identify as?
And that's a really good question too. And I know that people feel very worried about getting things wrong or that they'll offend people. If you're not sure about who a person's pronoun is or what a person's pronoun is, it's often more polite to offer your own first.
Right.
To introduce yourself and to use your name. And if you're not sure, then ask them in a quiet place, in a private place, then don't make a big deal out of it. The key thing really is we use pronouns mostly when people are not around, mostly. And it's incredibly important to remember that the most important thing that we can do is think about how we treat people when they're there, when they're with us. If we can affirm and respect and listen to the people who are around us, and when they're around us and not just not around us, then chances are that we're being more respectful and kind and gentle to everyone around us, and that's not a bad thing.
Now, I know, Teddy, you affirmed your own gender about 15 years ago, but you didn't have this sort of language to help you. I'd love to get your perspective on that journey for you, but particularly when you entered the workplace, because it's somewhere that we all have to go at some stage, most of us do anyway, at some stage in our lives. What are some of the best practices that you would like to see for an encouraging non-binary inclusion in the workplace?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, all those years ago when I affirmed my own gender, I was the first trans person that I'd ever met, and, was living in the far western suburbs of Sydney and didn't really have much of a connection to community. I entered the workplace and started to affirm my gender when it felt safe and able to do so. And my experience at that workplace was actually incredibly positive. And that's something that is something that can be unusual for people. We know that people experience a significant amount of discrimination, stigma, and violence at work. And this is, a place where we might spend a third of our day, or we're spending even more time thinking about our work than, if we're not there. But being able to be and feel affirmed at work, which means where your pronouns are used, where your name is respected, where your gender is respected, what we see is highly productive trans people doing great work at workplaces that they want to stay at. And for a population whose unemployment rates are so unacceptably high, anything that we can do that listens to, affirms, and respects all people, and particularly trans people, the better it is for our workplaces and our societies. So having your pronouns on your email signature, joining an incredible project of ACON's called Pride in Diversity, go for it. An incredible project for corporates that want to build capacity for their employees. We know that more and more people are coming out at work before they've even spoken to their friends or family or community. So it's a place where people might be very worried and very scared about losing their job, being fired, because it's something that happens regularly for trans people. And so employers that want to hold space and affirm their employees can do so in really simple and easy ways.
Yeah, making it a safe space. Thank you so much, Teddy, for sharing your thoughts, your insights to raise awareness on this issue. Great to talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me. Take care.